Atlanta is buzzing once again, and this time the noise is louder than ever. In the middle of a night filled with flashing lights, champagne glasses, and whispers of new beginnings, Mama D unleashed a revelation that has left fans gasping. She claims she saw Mendices, the man who has built his reputation on loyalty and family, seated at a stylish Buckhead spot with a woman who was most definitely not Yandy. And it wasn't just dinner talk or casual company. According to her, it looked far too intimate, spooning close and even sharing bites as if they had no care in the world about who might be watching. But before we go further, let's make this clear: this is commentary, not confirmation. What we're breaking down tonight are the claims, the rumors, and the reactions that have already begun tearing through social media like wildfire. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the family feels divided as questions swirl about what really went down. Was it a misunderstanding? A case of Mama D stirring the pot? Or did she actually witness a scandal that could shake one of love and hip-hop's most talked about marriages? Buckle up, because this story is already spiraling into one of the most explosive sagas of the season. Mama D has always been known for stirring pots, but this time the weight of her words carried a kind of intensity that shook everyone in the room. It wasn't just gossip tossed around for attention. It was the way she leaned in, lowered her voice, and painted the scene like she had captured it on film. She claimed she saw Mendices at a popular spot in Buckhead, tucked into a booth with a woman who wasn't Yandy. The detail that made jaws drop was the image of him spooning her food and leaning close enough that the lines between casual and intimate blurred. The crowd froze as those words sank in, each person trying to measure whether Mama D was sharing a simple observation or blowing up the foundation of one of the franchise's most carefully protected marriages. In that moment, the room shifted from light chatter to buzzing whispers. Some tried to laugh it off, others leaned forward with curiosity, but everyone could feel that the ground had just cracked open. Scrappy, caught off guard, muttered that his mother always had a knack for saying the most explosive things at the worst possible times. Yet even he didn't push back immediately, because the way she told it didn't feel like a joke. She spoke with the certainty of someone convinced they had caught something real. When the scene hit the screen, fans wasted no time dissecting every frame. The moment Mama D said he was spooning her was clipped, shared, and looped across platforms. Memes popped up overnight with captions like "spooning in Buckhead" and "not Yandy's fork." Some fans immediately believed her, arguing that Mama D had no reason to invent such a vivid detail. Others accused her of chasing relevance, pointing out her long history of stirring drama for storylines. Whatever the perspective, the reaction was loud, and once again, Mendices and Yandy found themselves under the microscope. Yandy, known for her polished exterior and ability to keep composure, was suddenly forced into silence that spoke volumes. Every picture she posted after the rumor carried new weight. A single smile looked forced. A caption about strength read like a hidden message, and even her choice of outfit was picked apart for meaning. One post read, "Protect your peace and let the noise die down," and instantly people debated whether she was addressing the rumor without addressing it. The fan base split into two camps, those praising her for not feeding the fire, and those criticizing her for avoiding the truth. Mendices, on the other hand, projected calm. He posted gym videos, family clips, and motivational lines as if nothing was happening around him. During one live session, he even laughed at the comments pouring in about Buckhead, brushing them off by saying, "People love headlines more than they love facts." It was his way of diffusing tension, but to viewers it came across as dismissive. After all, if there was truly nothing to hide, why not just deny it outright? Why not clear the air in a way that left no room for doubt? Instead, his calmness created even more suspicion, feeding into the storm instead of quieting it. Behind the cameras, the whispers among cast members grew louder. Kirk Frost was one of the first to fan the flames. Sitting with the guys, he made sly remarks about how Mendices seemed to be living a double life. He smirked while saying men shouldn't play with people's marriages, only to slide in jabs about poly rumors and entanglements. His words set off alarms because of his own history, and fans were quick to call him out for hypocrisy. Still, his commentary hit home, pushing Mendices closer to the edge. Mendices later expressed his frustration in a private conversation with Scrappy, venting about how uncomfortable it was to have Kirk constantly talking about his private life. "No man should be obsessed with another man's moves like that," he said, half laughing, half irritated. The remark that Kirk seemed fixated on him, even down to his body, went viral. Fans replayed the clip, joking about Kirk's obsession, but also recognizing the seriousness in Mendices' voice. What was supposed to be brotherhood was turning into rivalry, fueled by gossip that refused to die down. Rashida joined in too, adding her own shade when she accused Yandy of presenting a fake picture-perfect marriage while chaos swirled behind the scenes. The tension between the two women reignited instantly. Yandy fired back, calling Rashida a compulsive liar who thrived on dragging others into her own misery. Rashida countered by calling Yandy obsessed with controlling every narrative, accusing her of being unable to handle the truth. Their exchanges grew louder, sharper, and more personal, and fans labeled it one of the season's fiercest rivalries. Meanwhile, Jasmine's name began to circle back into the drama, even though she had nothing to do with the Buckhead sighting. Her history with Kirk made her an easy target, and when her name got linked in conversations, the gossip doubled. Jasmine, frustrated, confronted the rumors directly, saying she had no part in what Mama D saw. Still, her one comment about Mendices being too friendly at a club with her and a friend reignited the suspicion. Fans latched onto it, connecting dots that may or may not have existed. And suddenly Jasmine found herself dragged into a storyline she wanted no part of. Mama D, unfazed by the backlash, stood by her words. In her confessional, she leaned into her role as truth-teller, saying she wasn't out to destroy anyone's marriage, but simply couldn't stay silent when she saw something questionable. "If a man is feeding another woman in public, I'm not blind," she said with conviction. To her, it wasn't shade, it was honesty. Her consistency made it harder for some fans to dismiss her, even as others accused her of being messy. Spice added her opinion, saying women should never ignore red flags, which led to Bambi firing back that Spice was enjoying the drama too much. What started as a comment about trust turned into another round of insults between Spice and Bambi, dragging the spotlight further away from the truth and into yet another feud. Fans laughed at how fast the storyline sprawled, connecting cast members who weren't even there the night Mama D claimed to see Mendices. Through it all, the heart of the issue remained the same. Was Mendices really caught spooning another woman? Or was this another example of perception turned into scandal? Yandy's silence, Mendices' calmness, and Mama D's conviction kept the question alive, creating a storyline that seemed destined to grow bigger with each episode. What began as a whispered claim had now spiraled into a battle of reputations, alliances, and marriages, and Atlanta's fans couldn't get enough of the unfolding spectacle. The shockwaves from Mama D's revelation rolled through Atlanta like thunder on a summer night. At first, people tried to downplay it, treating it as another one of her infamous tales, but the details she gave were too specific to ignore. She described the way Mendices leaned in, the fork gently pressed to the lips of the mystery woman, the hug that lingered long. Yandy, usually quick to control her narrative, surprised everyone by staying silent. She posted motivational quotes and snapshots of her kids, but noticeably avoided any direct mention of the rumor. For some, that was proof she was above the drama, refusing to let gossip shake her. But for others, her silence was damning. "If it wasn't true, why not deny it?" one fan commented. "Silence speaks louder than words," wrote another. Her strategy of ignoring it only fueled speculation further, as people read into every post, every look, and every move she made. Mendices, in contrast, seemed almost amused. He was seen in a live video with friends, brushing off the comments. "Atlanta love headlines more than they love facts," he said with a grin, before turning the conversation to lighter topics. But fans weren't buying it. They clipped that moment, replayed it, and pointed out how he never once said the words, "It didn't happen." For viewers, the lack of a clear denial was suspicious, and the more he laughed, the more people questioned whether he was laughing at them for not being able to tell the difference between truth and performance. As the chatter grew louder, Kirk Frost decided to stir things even more. During a guys' night out, he casually dropped lines about men living double lives, smirking as he implied that Mendices might be stepping into territory he always claimed to avoid. "You can't talk about protecting marriages and then be spooning at restaurants," Kirk said, leaning back with his signature grin. His comment hit a nerve, not just with the group, but with fans who immediately picked up on the hypocrisy. Kirk, of all people, had no room to lecture anyone about fidelity. And yet here he was, making himself the authority on what men should and shouldn't do. Mendices didn't take kindly to Kirk's shade. In his confessional, he vented about how strange it was that another man seemed obsessed with his private life. "It's like he can't stop talking about me," he said, frustration breaking through his usual calm tone. "I've never seen somebody bring up another man's business this much. It's weird." The remark caught fire online, with fans joking about Kirk's obsession, but also recognizing the tension beneath the humor. It was no longer just about a rumor. It was about pride, respect, and the lines being crossed between supposed friends. Rashida, never one to stay on the sidelines, added her own fuel to the blaze. In a tense moment at a fashion event, she confronted Yandy, accusing her of hiding behind her polished image while her marriage crumbled. "You act like you're perfect, like everything is together. Rashida snapped. "But everybody sees what's really going on." Yandy fired back immediately, calling Rashida a compulsive liar who was projecting her own problems onto others. "You're just mad because your marriage fell apart in public," she shot back. "So now you want mine to look just as messy." Their words cut deep, and the cameras caught every glare, every raised voice, and every insult fans watching the episode lit up social media, declaring the confrontation one of the season's most explosive. Hashtags like Ashiyandiv's Rashida trended, and clips of their argument spread like wildfire. Some fans sided with Yandy, praising her for standing her ground, while others said Rashida was finally exposing the truth. The divide was sharp, and it mirrored the divide within the cast itself. Jasmine, though not directly involved, once again found her name pulled into the drama. Her history with Kirk made her an easy target. And when her name popped up in conversations, she couldn't escape the speculation. Fed up, she confronted the rumors head-on, insisting she had nothing to do with what Mama D saw. But then came her slip. In defending herself, she admitted that Mendices had been too friendly at a club, hugging her and her friend in a way that didn't feel innocent. It was meant as a small aside, but it lit the rumor on fire again. Fans latched onto it, questioning if what Mama D saw was just another example of a pattern that Yandy had ignored for too long. The rumor also began pulling in Spice and Bambi, who clashed over whether women should hold men accountable or stop feeding gossip. Spice argued that ignoring red flags only made things worse, while Bambi accused her of loving the drama too much. Their back and forth spiraled into another feud entirely, filled with insults about bodies, houses, and status, proving once again that no storyline in Atlanta exists in isolation. Everything is connected. Every fight bleeds into another, and the spooning scandal became the center of a tangled web of confrontations. Through it all, Mama D never wavered. She repeated her story in every setting, holding to her conviction that she knew what she saw. "I've been around long enough to know when a man is with his woman," she said, eyes sharp. "And what I saw wasn't just friendly." Her confidence made it difficult for anyone to dismiss her outright, even if they wanted to. Some called her messy, others called her bold, but nobody could ignore her. The fallout wasn't just personal, it was public. Atlanta's gossip blogs continued to churn out stories. Paparazzi tried to capture photos of Mendices and Yandy together, and fans speculated about whether their marriage could survive the constant cloud of suspicion. What had started as one comment in a restaurant now had the power to reshape alliances, friendships, and reputations. The spooning scandal wasn't just a rumor anymore. It had become the heartbeat of the season, a storyline too big to ignore and too messy to resolve neatly. The uncertainty hung over every scene. Each new gathering, each casual dinner, carried the weight of unanswered questions. People whispered in corners, side-eyed across tables, and threw shade in confessionals, all orbiting around the same central drama. And the more they tried to move on, the more the rumor pulled them back in, like a storm cloud refusing to pass over Atlanta's skyline. The tension that Mama D's revelation unleashed refused to fade away. Instead, it seeped into every corner of Atlanta's social scene, becoming the uninvited guest at every dinner, studio session, and family gathering. By now, even people who weren't there the night she claimed to see Mendices in Buckhead had their own version of the story, and each retelling seemed more dramatic than the last. One person swore they heard from a friend of a friend that the mystery woman was an influencer. Another said it was just a business meeting gone wrong. But no matter how the details shifted, the central image of Mendices spooning another woman stayed alive, pulsing like a headline that wouldn't die. Yandy tried to keep her composure, but her patience was clearly wearing thin. Cameras caught her venting to a close friend, saying she was sick of defending herself against lies and half-truths. "I've built everything on trust," she said, voice trembling between anger and exhaustion. "And now people want to tear it down because they can't stand to see me happy." Her words struck a chord, but her refusal to directly deny the rumor only fueled the fire. Fans debated whether her silence was a sign of strength or proof that she couldn't say more without unraveling the whole story. Mendices, meanwhile, leaned harder into his strategy of calm. During another group meetup, he brushed off the subject again, telling the guys, "If I address every rumor, I'll never live in peace." But Scrappy, tired of being stuck in the middle, pressed him harder. "Bro, this ain't just some random rumor," Scrappy said, shaking his head. "This came from my mama, and whether you like her or not, she don't make up details like that." Mendices sighed, looking irritated but still refusing to give in. "Then let her stand on what she saw," he muttered, "because I know what I didn't do." The exchange left Scrappy frustrated and fans even more divided. The Frost household, on the other hand, had no interest in letting the rumor fade. Kirk continued dropping sly comments at every opportunity, and Rashida seemed almost energized by the chance to clash with Yandy. In one heated gathering, she accused Yandy of trying to paint herself as a victim while throwing shade behind the scenes. Yandy snapped back that Rashida was obsessed with her marriage because she couldn't handle the cracks in her own. The argument escalated quickly, with Rashida raising her voice and Yandy firing back with cutting one-liners. "You want to talk about marriages?" Yandy hissed. "Let's talk about the DNA test your husband had to take for his own child." The room erupted. Gasps, laughter, and shouts filled the space as Rashida's face tightened with fury. Their clash spilled into confession, fueling the fire for the cameras. Fans couldn't agree, but they couldn't stop watching either. Spice, trying to inject reason, said on camera that women needed to stop brushing off warning signs. Her comment triggered Bambi, who accused Spice of loving to stir drama just as much as anyone else. Their argument spiraled into personal insults, with Spice mocking Bambi's career moves and Bambi firing back about Spice's surgeries. Once again, the original spooning claim had set off a chain reaction that created new feuds, new rivalries, and new soundbites that fans played on loop. In the midst of it all, Jasmine tried to clear her name once more. She confronted Yandy directly, insisting she had no role in the Buckhead rumor. "Don't put me in your mess," she said sharply, but then she stumbled again. She mentioned how Mendices had hugged her and her friend at the club, and that the embrace felt too comfortable. Though she meant it as a small example, the cameras caught Yandy's icy glare, and fans jumped on it as yet another piece of evidence. Suddenly, Jasmine, who claimed she had nothing to do with the scandal, was once again caught in the web of speculation. Off-screen, fans were dissecting every frame of footage. Blogs put together timelines comparing nights when Mendices was spotted in Atlanta, lining up outfits and backgrounds to guess when the Buckhead dinner might have taken place. Some swore they had found the restaurant in question, sharing grainy photos of booths and lighting that matched Mama D's description. Though none of the evidence was confirmed, the speculation itself was enough to keep the rumor alive. Back in the group, the pressure reached boiling point during a supposed healing retreat. The cast gathered in an effort to move past the drama, but the moment the spooning rumor came up, all attempts at peace shattered. Jasmine threatened to air everything out. Rashida accused Yandy of being fake, and Yandy fired back with accusations of obsession and lies. Spice rolled her eyes, Bambi shouted, and Mama D sat back watching with a satisfied smirk. Voices overlapped, hands pointed across tables, and the retreat collapsed into pure chaos. The aftermath left everyone more divided than before. Alliances shifted, friendships cracked, and the spooning scandal had now grown into a full-blown war of loyalty and credibility. Yandy's marriage was still under scrutiny. Mendices still refused to give details, and Mama D still stood tall on her story. What began as a single whispered claim had now exploded into a narrative so big that it seemed to define the entire season. For the cast, the rumor was more than gossip. It was a test of trust, pride, and survival in a world where perception mattered as much as truth. And while the group continued to shout, argue, and deflect, fans were left with the same unanswered question. Did Mama D truly witness Mendices spooning another woman in Buckhead? Or was this the most dramatic misunderstanding Atlanta had ever seen? By the time the scandal reached its peak, the rumor had stopped being just about what Mama D claimed to have seen, and had transformed into a storm that swallowed up nearly every relationship in its path. Atlanta's nightlife whispered about it. The blogs couldn't stop posting about it. And fans across the country argued as if they had been sitting at the table that night in Buckhead themselves. What made the whole thing even more gripping was the way no one seemed able to let it go. Each cast member who tried to move past it found themselves dragged right back in, and every gathering ended up circling around the same question. Was Mendices really caught spooning another woman? The cast reunion dinners became pressure cookers. At one event, hosted to celebrate Spice's tour success, the room was supposed to be filled with joy and applause. Instead, tension hung heavy like smoke. Mama D arrived dressed like she was prepared for battle, and from the moment she stepped through the doors, all eyes were locked on her. She carried herself with a smug confidence, ready to repeat her story to anyone who dared to challenge it. And when Rashida, already simmering from her own feud with Yandy, gave her a side eye and muttered about people making things up for camera time, Mama D pounced. "I don't need no cameras to tell the truth," she snapped across the table. "I know what I saw, and I'll say it until the day I die." The table erupted. Kirk smirked. Rashida rolled her eyes and Yandy's face tightened, her patience hanging by a thread. It was supposed to be a celebration, But instead, it turned into yet another arena for accusations. Yandy finally stood up, her voice firm but quivering with frustration. Do you know what it feels like to have to walk into every room and defend your marriage because people want to keep repeating lies? She asked, staring at Mama D but directing her words at everyone. The silence that followed was deafening, but it didn't last. Rashida clapped her hands together slowly, sarcastically, before firing back. Girl, you act like you're the only one whose marriage has ever been questioned. Welcome to Atlanta. Those words were like gasoline on fire. Yandy's composure cracked, and for the first time, she shouted, Your marriage is a circus, Rashida. You forgave Kirk after he had a baby outside your marriage? Don't you dare try to put me in the same category. Gasps filled the room. Kirk stiffened, and Rashida's face flushed with fury. At least I admit when something happened, she hissed. You'd rather lie to yourself than face the truth. The argument spiraled, voices rising, hands slamming against the table, until producers had to step in to calm things down. In confessionals later, Rashida accused Yandy of being terrified of the truth getting out, while Yandy said Rashida was projecting her own humiliation onto others. The feud between the two women became so intense that fans online started calling it the real storyline of the season, overshadowing even the original rumor itself. But Mama D wasn't done. In a separate sit-down, she doubled down once more, insisting the intimacy she saw couldn't be misinterpreted. If that wasn't his woman, then why was he acting like it was? She asked with conviction. Scrappy, caught in the middle, looked exhausted. Ma, sometimes you gotta just stop, he muttered, rubbing his face. But she wasn't stopping, not now, not ever. I'm not gonna let no woman be played while everybody sits around pretending nothing happened, she replied. Fans were torn between applauding her boldness and criticizing her for making herself the center of attention. Meanwhile, Jasmine attempted to pull herself out of the chaos once again, but fate had other plans. During another group outing, she mentioned in passing that she had been warned about Mendices being too friendly long before the Buckhead sighting. The table froze and all eyes turned to her. She quickly backtracked, insisting she didn't mean anything by it, but the damage was done. Fans took the soundbite and ran with it, calling Jasmine the accidental whistleblower. The rumor also seeped into fan interactions in the real world. At events, Yandy was heckled with shouts of, "Who was she?" and spooning scandal. Bloggers created entire breakdown videos trying to analyze the body language between her and Mendices. One blog even claimed to have spotted the mystery woman in grainy photos, though nothing was confirmed. The lack of proof didn't matter. Perception had become reality, and the storyline had grown larger than the people living it. The climax came during a retreat organized to heal old wounds. Producers billed it as a chance for reconciliation, but viewers knew it would be anything but peaceful. The cast gathered in a luxury house with calming music and meditation exercises planned, but the tranquility didn't last an hour. Once again, the conversation turned to the spooning scandal, and once again, tempers flared. Jasmine threatened to air everything. Spice reminded everyone that red flags can't be ignored. Bambi accused Spice of enjoying the drama too much, and Rashida and Yandy reignited their feud. The breaking point arrived when Yandy, tears streaming down her face, finally confronted Mendices in front of everyone. All I'm asking is for you to look at me and say it didn't happen, she pleaded. The room fell silent, waiting for his response. Mendices sighed, his calm demeanor steady as ever. I love you, Yandy, he said, and you know what we have is real. I'm not gonna let lies run our lives. But again, he never said the words she wanted to hear. Not once did he say, it didn't happen. The silence in that space was louder than any scream, and fans watching at home held their breath. The retreat ended in chaos, with no resolution. Alliances were more fractured than ever. Trust was shattered, and the spooning rumor remained unanswered. Was Mama D right? Was Yandy ignoring the truth? Or was Mendices truly being targeted by opportunistic castmates? Nobody could agree, and that uncertainty was the very thing that made it unforgettable. When the season wrapped, the storyline had left scars on nearly everyone involved. Friendships that once looked solid now felt fragile. Marriages that once looked unshakable were now under scrutiny. And the fans, instead of getting closure, were left with even more questions. It was the perfect storm: messy, dramatic, unresolved, and endlessly addictive. In the end, the spooning scandal wasn't just about whether Mendices did or didn't share an intimate dinner. It was about trust, loyalty, pride, and the way one claim can unravel an entire circle of people. It was about how quickly rumors become reality in the world of love and hip-hop, and how silence can sometimes scream louder than denial. Mama D stood unbothered. Yandy carried her pain with poise. Mendici stayed calm in the eye of the storm, and the rest of the cast clung to their own truths. The family was left divided, the fans were left buzzing, and the city of Atlanta whispered the same question over and over. Was it all just smoke and mirrors? Or had Mama D truly dropped the biggest bombshell of the season? And that's where we leave it. A whirlwind of emotions, rumors, and raw confrontations. Mama D swears by what she saw. Yandy refuses to let the whispers define her marriage, and Mendici continues to walk that tightrope of calm silence. The Frost household added their own fire. Jasmine got pulled into the mess once again, and fans are still debating every little detail online. What's fact, what's fiction, and what's just reality TV magic, no one really knows. But one thing's for sure, this scandal has kept everyone talking, and it shows no signs of fading away. So now we want to hear from you. Do you think Mama D really witnessed something she shouldn't have? Or is this just another case of the cameras magnifying drama that didn't exist? Do you believe Mendici's calm silence is proof of innocence? Or is it a way to dodge the fire? Jump into the comments and tell us your take, because your voice makes this conversation even louder. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the chaos, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a single update. We break down every twist, every rumor, and every shocking reveal from love and hip-hop, and you don't want to be the last one to know. Share this video with your friends, keep the debate going, and let's see how this storyline continues to unfold. Because in Atlanta,